this is Dan again. And for the next section, I want to talk a little bit about our money missteps, some things that we do wrong when it comes to money. So first of all, I want us to realize that when it comes to money, decisions about money are supposed to be about opportunity cost. Right? Think about like the world before money. Maybe you had chickens and I had broccoli, and we had to decide what's the exchange rate between chicken and broccoli, and it was very difficult and complex. Then we invented money, which was, sometimes we call it the common good. And everything is mapped into money. Chickens are mapped into money, and broccoli and vacations and cars and all kinds of other things. And all of a sudden, I don't need to do a trade-off between chickens and broccoli. I can exchange everything to money, and through that, we do all the exchanges. That's amazing. But what's the problem? The problem that it's really hard to think about these trade-offs, right? So in English, there's this expression. It's like comparing apples to oranges. And this expression is supposed to be that this is something difficult to do. But the reality is that it's very easy to compare apples to oranges. Nobody ever stands by the fruit plate and say, oh my goodness, I have no idea what I want. It's because we see two things. They both have hedonic impact on us. We feel which one we want, and we know which one we want. But when it comes to money, that's very, very tough. Is an apple worth 50 cents, $1, $1.50? What about an orange? Very, very tough to do. So opportunity cost is very important, but it's very hard to think about it. Because according to opportunity cost, every time you come to buy, let's say, a cup of coffee, you should be thinking, what am I giving up now and later for this cup of coffee, and is this worth it? But we're supposed to represent all the other opportunities that we have for that money, and that's just too difficult. And it's too difficult for small decisions, and it's too difficult for big decisions. For example, a few years ago, we went to a Toyota dealership, and we asked people who were about to buy a car. These were people who kind of had already the price. They knew what would be their monthly fee. And we said, if you were going to go ahead and buy this car, what would you be giving up? What would you not be able to do? And you know what? They had no answer for us. Why? Because they never thought about it. And then we pushed them and said, look, if you buy a new car, something has to give. If you buy this new Toyota, what will give up? And the most common answer we got was, if I buy this Toyota, I can't buy Honda. Which of course is true, but not what we were looking for. We were looking for something like, if I buy this Toyota, I'm giving up 70 cups of coffee every year and 3 books and 1 week of vacation. Some exchange across domain and across time. So the first thing to realize about money is that money requires that we understand opportunity cost, but it's really tough to do opportunity cost. Tough to do it for small things, tough to do it for large things. The second point is that technology makes it harder, right? Imagine that every morning I met you and I gave you $50 for the day. All your expenses, you had to pay for everything in cash. Very quickly you would understand your opportunity cost. You would understand if you have a big breakfast, you don't have money for beer, and if you spend money on lunch, maybe you don't have money for medications. The opportunity cost will become very clear. What if I gave you the money once a month? Now, in the beginning of the month, you would feel very rich, but toward the end of the month, you realize you don't have enough money. What if I also ask you to put money in student loans and car payments and a mortgage and credit card bills, credit card debt? All of a sudden, things are becoming much, much more complex. So a lot of the technology, the wonderful, amazing technology of modern payment systems are also making it harder and harder to understand opportunity cost. So opportunity cost is naturally tough. Technology is making it tougher. The next money mishap I'll tell you about is about intertemporal substitution, or sometimes called hyperbolic discounting. Imagine I asked you a question. I said, what would you rather have? A half a box of chocolate right now, or a full box of chocolate in a week? Half a box now, or full in a week? You would probably look at it, and most people, you say, you know what? I really feel like the chocolate now. By the way, this effect gets stronger if we let you smell and feel the chocolate. So, do I really want to wait another week? Most people say, give me the half a box of chocolate now. Not worth it to wait another week for another half a box of chocolate. I really crave it now. And then for another group, you say, what would you like? A half a box of chocolate in a year, or a full box of chocolate in a year in a week? Again, 1 week later. But now most people say, no problem, I will wait. Now, the reality is that in both choices, you asked whether you're willing to wait another week for another half a box of chocolate. The trade-off is the same. But when it's now, we feel it's crazy to wait, especially if we smell the chocolate. In the future, we're very patient. By the way, in the future, we're wonderful people. We would exercise, diet, do all kinds of things. And this is the role of emotion. When we see something, we feel it, where you can smell the chocolate and taste it, you really crave it, we don't think much about the future. If the chocolate is 1 year from now and 1 year and 1 week from now, we can't feel it. There's no emotion. And therefore, we do the rational thing. I'll wait another week for another half a box of chocolate. But when something is now, we basically are overrun by emotions, and we want the now rather than later. And this is why we spend all kinds of money on all kinds of things we shouldn't. It is also why we procrastinate, and why we don't go to sleep on time, and when we text and drive, and all kinds of other things like that. And then the last example I'll give you about money mishap is what we call the pain of paying. The pain of paying. Imagine you go to a restaurant in the good old days, and you either pay at the end of the meal with a credit card or with the cash. Which one feels worse? It's the same amount, but which one feels worse? And the cash feels worse. What's the difference? What's the difference between paying cash and paying a credit card? It's the timing of payment. If you're paying with cash, you're paying now. If you're paying with a credit card, you're just signing now, and you're going to get to pay only later. And this combination of paying now and eating now is making the whole experience much worse. Consider the following example. Imagine that I own a restaurant, and I figured that people eat 50 bites and pay 50 euros. And I came to you and I said that because you're such a wonderful person, I'll give you a discount. I'll charge you 50 cents, half a euro per bite. Most people pay 50 euros for 50 bites. I'll charge you half a euro per bite. And not only that, I'll only charge you for the bites you eat. The bites you don't need to pay. And I'll put the dish in front of you, and I'll stand back with my little notebook, and every time you take a bite, I'll mark a little V on my notebook. How much fun will that meal be? Not so much fun. Why? Because timing of payment and consumption will be the same, and it will suck the joy out of this meal. Sometimes when I teach the psychology of money, I bring pizza and I charge the students 25 cents per bite. What do you think happens? Huge bites. And you would think, maybe they'll take one big bite and they'll learn it's not that much fun. No, they don't. They sit there with the pizza and they push a little bit too much and eventually get too much in their mouth, and they don't enjoy the whole process. So the problem is that payment, in many cases, is about reducing the pain of paying. Plastic cards are about not feeling the pain of paying, and because we don't feel the pain of paying, we end up spending more than we would have. Apple Pay, Android Pay, those methods are designed to get us to feel less the pain of paying, to think less about opportunity cost, and therefore spend more money. The point is that, we all live with money, and we think we're experts about money because we use it all the time. But the reality is that when you stop to think about it, and that's what we did in this book, you realize that money is really mysterious and interesting and gets us to behave in all kinds of ways. And it's good, A, to understand it, and B, to also understand what it does to us and what are the cases in which maybe we should act in slightly better way. Can we fix human nature? Of course not. But can we act in slight better ways? Absolutely. So that's it for me. Thank you for your time. Difficult, complex days, but also these are good times to reflect on our life, reflect on our spending, and see maybe there are things that we have been doing that are not the best for us, and use this Corona time to try and restructure some habits and get some new ones going. All the best. Bye.